Disclaimer. Hello everyone! Welcome to the Week in Review, where we recap the previous week and anything extra. So, this is going to be a pretty eventful week in review because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let me just adjust this here. You go here, you are here, and yeah, we'll get started with the week recap, which should be playing right about now. But yeah, pretty exciting week. Hello to everyone. So the Monday of this week in review was pretty cool because of the fact we were able to do quite a good stuff. We did like the Unseen X challenge, a lot of like burst discussion topics for this week. We talked about the upgrades in Beyblade Burst. We talked, well, actually, we did a marathon, cross-gen with Leon Claw against like the Lions. We did an episode review, and yeah, that should move to something else. Hasbro news, which was a little surprising, not really. And then after the Saturday video, which was, Curse 3 print stuff. Shout out Kaiju, by the way, for those creations. And I think after that, that was kind of it for that. Okay. So, obviously, I gotta plug mallofbays.com. A quick little disclaimer also in regards to the orders for 19 to 21. I will throw this on here. So, obviously, it releases in Japan, like, the Thursday? But obviously, the shipping would be, like, after the weekend, most likely. It all depends on the schedule, how we're able to do this. I've kind of explained this situation in previous stuff, but we'll try to do it as soon as possible. Also, October is almost done. We have a Beyblade Burst sale that is 15% off automatically on checkout. And we have pre-orders only really left over for Rhino Horn. Restocking for other stuff will be coming soon afterwards. But yeah, this really does help out the channel, so if you are able to check it out, I appreciate it. If you can't, liking and subscribing works the same way for me. Okay, so this one we finally got the reveal for. Look at this. It's the little capsule shooter thing. We talked about this in the past, but I was an absolute mess when I was talking about it before, so yeah, these are just those little tiny, like, micro kind of plastic base, whatever. We're getting it. Wave 1 is going to have Drawn Sword, Hell's Scythe, Wizard Arrow, Night Shield, Night Lance, and then after, a Viper Tail. So that's like the full wave, and I'm pretty sure it's like you only get one or whatever of the thing. It's just a small little cute merchandise Japan likes to do for the Beyblade stuff, so yeah. I'm assuming next wave they'll probably do like Drawn Dagger, Hell's Chain, Shark Edge, Leon Claw. They gotta fill it out, right? Maybe Drake. Yeah, they're just really like little mini bays. I'm curious, though. I might be asking for too much. Imagine if they can use the stadium gimmick. No, they probably can't. They're too light for that to actually happen. But it would be funny. Yeah, but this is really cute. Supposed to come out end of November. Probably like, they say late November, so I'm not going to really play guessing to what it is. Let's also talk about this. By the way, if you are in Canada, specifically the Toronto area, make sure to check out an event we have here. I did actually move the date. It might get moved from the Saturday to the Sunday. All depends on circumstance, on the venue and stuff. But yeah, check it out. There's cool stuff there. So if you're in the area and you want to go sign up, check it out. Okay. So that was the tournament plug. I will do the tournament plug again afterwards, but you know. Now, the actual thing I did miss out this week was the Rhino thing. I was going to do a video on it, but then after I got busy with a lot of other stuff, so I couldn't. Also, I kind of forgot they were going to do the Rhino video. But Rhino Horn, yeah, pretty cool. So they finally did the video for it. I gotta say, visually, IRL, it looks pretty cool. Also, to answer this one, yes, we will be reviewing the mini stuff. That is 100%. Just depends whenever it comes out, whenever I get it. So if it's at the end of the month, probably at the end of the month, you'll probably see filler video. I don't know. I'm curious actually if they're going to do a stadium too, but Anyways, the Rhino Bay looks pretty sick. I like it. The parts on it are 380, and what is it, Spike? Spike? Oh no, the MFB thing is gonna poison me. No, it's Spike. It's not called Sharp, because I know they call it Sharp in metal in the Hasbro version, but no, it's Spike, Spike, Spike. Okay. So the 380, you know, nothing in specific is like new about this 380. Just looks pretty nice. It's got like a nice little kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a little pearl kind of look to it, kind of for the color choice. And then after we get our new bit, which is Spike. So when they're basically describing Spike, it's like, again, this is another defense bit. So I will say in fairness, you know, this is almost kind of like when I joked about orb kind of being like this is basically a low wall. So this is basically like low needle, but it's not lower than the actual needle. It's obviously just normal height. It's just the shape of it is very silly. So the whole idea, you know, outlast the opponent and win. And if you look at it to a regular needle, it looks very, very odd. I don't know what use this will have. I'm assuming at your best, maybe pure defense, maybe. I gotta do the testings to see. Or maybe for a destabilizer. Maybe, right? I don't know. I'm just spitballing right now for what it could be. So the whole thing with the Rhino Beyblade, obviously, I think I have the shot of the side profile. The idea was like the horns of the Rhino. It's got a pretty like bumpy sort of design to it if you look at it. It kind of reminds me of, I think, Burgerados from Metal Fight. Obviously, it doesn't look like so incredibly smooth. I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit of recoil there, but yeah, it looks pretty neat. And if you look at it, the whole point of this Rhino Beyblade is the idea it's compact, right? It's supposed to be, like, small, but obviously, I'm assuming it's going to have probably some weight. They just kind of smushed it. It looks like it has pretty thick walls and everything. So, I think Rhino might be pretty cool. For what use, I think it'll probably be good for counterattack stuff. What counterattack basically is where you have like something used on like defensive stuff. It basically uses a lot of recoil to tire out an attacker, and it'll do that. It'll probably be good for that, but not good enough to actually be used for something like attack. Or maybe it does. We'll see, right? And obviously, they kind of show it winning. I have nothing to say. I do think potentially that this might be a high skill use bit. Because obviously, Takara Tomy has to rig the video for the product, right? Obviously. That every single time it's a new product, they're going to do that. So I tried to see if there's anything I could pick out from it. I do think if it takes really big hits, unlike maybe needle or even high needle, it might be down for the count. We might have seen varying degrees of kind of these defense bits. You kind of have, I think it'll be spike, needle, then high needle for least to most likely to be used, most likely. Oh, okay, and then after there's the Hasbro stuff. Yeah, but, hold on. If you have anything to say about the Rhino stuff, you know, throw it out there, I guess. But, yeah, actually, after that, all of Zuganic is pretty much completed. We have, her Bay, what's it, Pan? Pan, I believe, is in the name. I have to double check. I haven't been, looking right now, but, yeah, I think it has an interesting premise towards it. I think it has, pretty neat stuff. But, let's talk about now the Hasbro thing. Now, this should really come to almost no surprise, but where am I? I'm here. This should come to no surprise, but yes, Hasbro does return. We kind of did, obviously there's speculation at the start with T licensing because we did not know, but after when we talked and we've done the update for the record that yes, the bays will not get like modified or what. I'm like very much paraphrasing, but I've said this on a previous stream. The bays like won't be like how Burst kind of handled it, and they never said that Hasbro was gone, and they kept on saying, you know, like, hey, why would the relationship stop? And obviously now you get your official confirmation. So, like I kind of discussed on the original video, before we get into what could be the positive, I'll kind of explain what exactly does this mean. Now, first of all, I want to address the wording, which I did not really cover. So they say Beyblade X offers tops identical in weight, feel, performance across Hasbro and Takara Tomy. So I want you to really pay attention to their wording, and I want to ask you right now to the chat, where exactly have you heard this type of wording before? Now I'm going to give you a second, okay? Where have you heard this wording before when they're saying identical, right, to Takara Tomy? Now, ladies and gentlemen, You are getting Pro Series. You are getting Pro Series. It could just be, maybe it is really literal, but I don't know, man. If you go Pro Series marketing, authentic Japanese tops. How many times they mention Japanese? I'm going on like a listing. Complete the Elite using authentic Japanese Beyblade Burst battle system. Die-cast metal, competitive edge, all this stuff. So this was the one thing I did miss out on. But this is the exact wording that Pro Series did. And listen, you have a lot of people who will cope on Pro Series' quality. I've seen countless examples on the WBO server of people's teeth wearing right away. Go on Reddit, so many breaks so easily with the Pro Series. It's like they're like simps for this big billion-dollar company that they cannot accept. This company does not care about you. They're giving you very poor quality in these products, and they cannot accept it. Are there good choices that Hasbro's made with Pro Series? Yes, and we give credit where credit's due. If there are times when the teeth doesn't wear, we'll acknowledge that. But when it fails the hardness test, when it fails the stress test, when I literally pull out a Takaratomi Bay of the same release and it does not stress the same way, then you know that Hasbro has a problem. And I have to keep on saying this because there's like this copium with like Hasbro. I don't know. It feels so weird. It's like they're so attached to Hasbro that they start making excuses in their head. Oh no, actually, I clicking the teeth. The way you're clicking it, that doesn't count. Even though in battle, it's going to be stronger impact as you lose clicks. But no, me simulating that to even would be a lesser extent of in battle. No, that doesn't count. It's just cope, man. But where are we getting to this on this kind of point? I gave multiple different potential what could happen for Beyblade X as this will launch in. If they say fall 2024, we'll probably see this maybe around the time of August 2024, usually around that time frame. Okay, other than the most important thing is general pricing, because Hasbro cannot be pricing this stuff like Pro Series. Pro Series, with the way they price it, a scam. A scam. They put it on a fixed rate. It's so ridiculous how they price Pro Series. It went from like, I think it was like $20, and it was 22 USD. Canadian, it's screwed. Canadian on the best retailers, and sometimes retailers decide, it's like $33.99. And other times, it's like $39.99 Canadian. Do the conversion to USD right now, big difference in the price. So they cannot screw up the price for this generation. The next thing now, as we were talking about this whole thing with the wording in Pro Series, is that the biggest worry is that, let's say the system is the exact same thing from start to finish. What happens if they do Pro Series materials? Pro Series, we've seen examples. I've seen examples of where a Pro Achilles had the metal break. I've seen countless examples of where Command's metal is snapped. Wear after wear after wear. And if people are already kind of, even if this is outliers for Beyblade X for the Japanese stuff, if people are encountering stuff here and there, if they have the pro materials, whatever, if the issue is maybe kind of like here, low level, if it's Hasbro, it's going to be all the way up there if they do not adapt properly. Listen, I've been through this dance before that they've done where they pretend, oh, it's actually this. Now, let's be in fairness now. They want to try to do their best, because read what they say. The new generation of Beyblade builds on Beyblade's rich history from the brand's launch of 1999 to 2008's Metal Fusion to burst technology, while mirroring the high-quality fans will come to know and love with the Takaratomi product. So, this could be that we do just get that TT quality, and there's no issues, and then after maybe release it could potentially be price, and then after we're pretty much fine. So you either get, worst case scenario, pricing is bad, materials are bad for what they use, and that is going to be horrible for the global launch. Or pricing is just the issue, or materials are just the issue, or none of it's the issue. I hope none of it's the issue. Now, what's really, really interesting is if you look at the wording here, because they specifically talk about, I got so into it. Also, they said additional Hasbro tops that meet the same high standard. So, this is the thing I want to kind of pick towards when they say additional. Now, here's the thing. Additional could simply be, let's say they do a purple drawn sword. That's an additional type of content that Takaratomi didn't do. Or a blue shark. You know what I mean? So what could this wording mean? Does this just mean just recolors and nothing really else? Or could we be seeing for Hasbro's Beyblade X actual new content like bits, Ratchet's maybe pushing it, but at least blades, new blades that Takara Tomy never released. If Hasbro does this, more or less same quality, you know, I think that's the thing that they should be focusing on. I think that's really, that would be a very big W right there. Because they already have to deal with basically a year difference. So if they're going to mix it in with like, okay, you want to know what? We're going to throw in just a hypothetical. Let's say Strike Hawk that Takara Tomy never did. Or, you know, like some new motif that they never released. I think that's a benefit. That's a benefit. It all depends how they handle this, though. It all depends how they handle this. People have a year to figure out and get comfortable spots of ordering Japanese Takara Tomy release, so when Hasbro stuff comes and they disappoint, people shouldn't buy them. Yeah, and right now, I'm trying to be like, I'm trying to give both scenarios where if they screw up, this is what happens. If it's to our benefit, this is what happens. But I truly hope they have learned their lesson with the previous generation, man. Burst was so mishandled. I actually feel personally because there are factors like the Toys R Us closing and COVID, but had Hasbro really not cut these corners and they really pushed on the marketing and everything in general, I feel Beyblade Burst could have lasted a lot longer, at least on like this side. At least on that. Now, in terms of stuff like stadiums, that's where it's going to get a little bit tricky. Like, for an example, I don't think they can do grips. I don't think they would be able to sell grips in a Western market. Like, grips is never, like, have they, actually, am I capping right now? Hold on. Metal, I'm going to actually search this. I don't recall. Metal Fusion grip. Have they sold grips in the Metal Fusion? Okay, they have sold grips separately. Okay, so maybe they can still do grips. Okay, never mind. They can probably still do grips. Okay, so then my next question is going to be for the chat, is just the stadiums, because typically how they have it in these stores, it's like stackable, right? But like, you know, if I get like an X Stadium's like in this little plastic wrapping and whatever, like, it's not really like it's stackable. So I'm just trying to think, like, what are they going to do? How do you modify the X Stadium? Because they can't, you got to keep this in mind. They can't modify it too much because it's going to be a safety risk if it is. So I don't know exactly what they can do. Or is it going to be a really weird big plastic molding? Or is it going to just be a regular stadium and maybe they just put it in a box? Could it just be that? I have no idea. I really have no idea how they could handle that. But yeah, that's the main stuff I wanted to kind of focus on there. Kind of, because the stadiums are very tricky. Like string launchers, you know, I could still see them doing it. Grips, I did have a memory blank there because Burst never had it. No, well, Burst has had, but not really like Metal Fight did. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I thought it was really important to talk about this stuff because this is gonna be super relevant. I mean, we got like a super long wait anyway, so yeah. Okay, now anyways, we're on to the main course. Okay. So the reason why I was holding off on this was just because I wanted to try to confirm. So obviously, when we originally did some reporting, which was back in August, obviously we got this whole listing thing from like now until January, right? But obviously, when you're in August to January, things can simply change over time for stuff. So I will basically go over what I was told in specific, what should be the changes that should be done for these months, and what the releases should be. And we'll kind of go over it. Originally, it was a BX22 entry starter, a regular starter, a random booster, a soft case. Then January by itself was just a booster. What I am told, and I'm going to double check this, for December, no entry starter apparently, just a regular starter. And let me see what else there was the changes for. I think the only difference is just no entry starter. Yeah. So it is, what is this? BX22 is a regular starter. BX23 is a random booster. BX24 is the case. And then after that's all December. Then after January the 25th is a booster. And then after the 26th is supposed to be a short random booster. So I wouldn't be surprised if the change that they just did was because they did this thing with Viper Tail, they decided to take the entry starter and basically put it as a short random booster. Potentially. That is what my guess is, and they haven't been wrong before. They said that their list should be pretty much up to date for this stuff, so that is the difference. So once all that December info comes out, obviously since our store had the 22 entry starter, if that doesn't exist, I will personally message anyone who's ordered the entry starter, and we will get all of that sorted. That all depends on what the Karatomi does, but yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like I was saying before when I kept on no spam on this stuff. It kind of makes sense when I was saying before that if something got taken out, moved. I'm very indifferent to the idea of a short random booster. If the rates are fine, then the rates are fine. But yeah, I guess they're gonna really find out in how long do we got till we have to actually figure out it. We're on October 29 right now, so we got about a good 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 2 days. 2 weeks, 2 days. So, yeah. There you go. And that's basically your little update for the stuff for product info. So, no entry starter, just regular, just 3 things for December, 2 things for January, instead of 4 things for December and 1 thing for January. So that's your only real difference. So, yeah. And obviously, our store will get sorted with all that stuff. So I will kind of throw it to any of the discussion on the chat in a moment. But I want to mention again, if you are in the Toronto area, make sure to check out this tournament. It may get moved from the Saturday to the Sunday. All depends on circumstance. But check it out if you're in the area. And malabays.com, because we have pre-orders, at least for that Rhino Horn. And check it out. And we're going to have a lot of content this week and a lot of other stuff that I'm working on behind the scenes. That's going to be pretty cool. And now we'll take this to general channel updates or just chats reading. Okay, I'm here. Wait, hold on. I got this little button. There you go. Okay, I'm there. Okay, so I'll be going over the chat stuff. Okay. Thank you. Since Hasbro's planning to do Beyblade X, what are you going to do? What do you think the upcoming releases are gonna do before? I don't know. More or less should be the same as the original. That's gonna be my answer. Do you think Hasbro will make a Hasbro Beyblade Burks? Alrighty, well, that's about it for me for today. Oh God. Do you think Hasbro will make a Beyblade X app like they did with the Beyblade Burst app? I don't want them to. I don't know, because, I mean, the app doesn't really have that much appeal. Like, the app never really went through that much quality of life. They introduced some mechanics, but, like, I don't think the app... I'd rather they try to actually localize the actual Japanese app. Because if they, let's say they bring the Battle Pass, I prefer they just do that, because that's pretty close to, like... I feel like people in the West, if they're trying to do the challenges or whatever, they could probably handle it. Or maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Okay. Do you think that Wizard Arrow might evolve in December or get a variant? I feel like it's like probably. Because I don't know. Because Multi has like a fox costume now, right? Like a fox, right? Or what did I call that? I think I call it like a kitsune or whatever outfit. I feel like it has to at this point, because every single bay has gotten the variant, so if it doesn't, that will be a little bit weird. Hasbro was supposed to be done after Burst, but this, to be fair, it was up in the air because of vague wording, because T-licensing, we never knew what it was, and T-licensing was basically just the stuff for like backpacks or other merchandise. It's not the actual bays. Would a kangaroo bay motif, a Quake driver, simulate jumping for X? If you see the Saturday video where we do a Quake bit, you can kind of see an idea of how that could kind of work. So the answer would be possible. Kind of random, but imagine a Thief Fennec remake for bay and they already had a gear flat. You have to try to do really wide gears and experiment. We could be seeing that in the future. I'm here. What did I miss? Everything. You missed everything. Everything you missed. No, I'm kidding. We just talked about Hasbro news, some updates for listing stuff, just really small stuff. Yeah, no, okay, I'll move on from there. As long as the exclusives are Strike Hawk or Stormable, and they're already existing base, same as CT, then I don't really care. Well, I mean, probably manga base is Cope, but if it's new content, I'm all for it. Hopefully won't have QR codes. Well, technically they should, because that's how you scan the bays on the official app of the thing, but they're all unique codes, so I would hope something like that. I honestly believe Spike is a worse needle. When I did all my testing yesterday, kept losing, and this is in context of 3D prints testing, via OS and burst with time extreme finishes. It could be burst run due to my print. I don't know. Fair enough. What if you made a crab Beyblade? Then I would have a crab Beyblade. That is my answer to you. I don't... What do you mean? These Toronto tournaments, do we have to bring a deck case? No. Well, actually, I got robbed one of my deck cases, actually, so... you don't have to. Usually when we do it, if you just have your order and you show it to a judge, you'll be fine. Even though Hasbro messed up after Turbo, do you think they would do the same thing for X? We will wait and see, my friend. We will wait and see. If there's anything else on the chat, if there's any questions for any of the topics today, feel free to throw it in. I'm going to be giving some general updates now. So I originally was planning on the bait history maybe being like the middle week of November. I think we're going to move that to the 26th. I had planned maybe for this idea of a tribute stream to my father since he passed away, but to be preparing for that and even just trying to get clips and do that stuff, I think it's too mentally breaking for me to actually do that, because it's almost like reliving pain for me. So I'd rather kind of do something that's like a little bit more... something I'm able to manage, and the history videos will always be, in general, always will be dedicated to him. So that's going to be really the big change. I am working hard on it. It's not just because most of the reason why you see delays on these big projects is because of my IRL schedule. If I have to do a lot of work for my studies, obviously studies always comes first. That's a lesson in life, everybody. Studies come first before anything else. And I absolutely have to get through that. So what I can say, however, is that the Quad Strike tier list should be probably coming tomorrow, maybe late tomorrow. And there is a good Halloween video for the 31st. There is no Bazar special. I feel like I've already done the 3D print of the base, so if I wanted to do it, you know, for this one it's going to be something else. It's going to be a nice skit type of thing. But, yeah, am I missing anything else? Also, damn it, I don't have the image of this. There was the quad creature set. That's the thing. I don't know what's going on. I have heard that apparently in the EU, and like, that would be the stuff like Europe, France, whatever. I have heard apparently there are listings for this where someone can find and get it, but I have not seen it personally. So, dude, I don't even know if the quad creature thing exists. I remember when my dad saw it, it's like, oh no, it's shit. I don't know what they're doing. Because literally, it's like, who wants to buy it? It's not even like anime release. It's so stupid by them. I've also kind of decided, like, I did kind of plan for this kind of end, like, conclusion to the Hasbro Saga thing, a video, because I did 2 videos, but I also thought, like, I don't know what I'd be saying in the video for it to warrant another video. So that was, like, the big thing I was kind of discussing with myself, but I'll take time to read some of the chat. We're never going to get a Beyblade fighting game. The closest you've ever gotten to that, to kind of like a fighting game mechanics, has been the Metal Masters game, the DS one. But yeah, no, I don't even know if they'll do games. That's something that's not in my expertise if they would, but I would hope they're able to do something. What do you think we'll see for the bays in December? Now, originally I was coping and I thought, oh, they'll do Drake for the prize bay or something and make Drake like 1 in 24 to pull. I think most likely... Is this a bold prediction? Okay, I might be wrong. I think, potentially, we might see the girl who's in Team Pendragon. We might see her bay as the random booster prize. That's just speculation, guessing. Maybe. If I have something, I always report on it, but this one's just guessing. I think it could maybe be a wizard variant, and maybe that could be her bait, or it could just be a new team or something. I don't even know what they would do, man. God if I know. Would they? No, they're not going to throw in any crossover projects. That's only in spring 24. Okay, so forget it. If Hasbro is doing Beyblade X in the West, that would also mean the Americas will get access to the app. You mean, okay, yeah, sorry. I was like, it depends if they're going to bring the battle pass or not. That's the thing, right, Shonk? I don't know if the app translates well. Because in Japan, it's a different culture and all that type of stuff. So I don't know if there's certain things I think in Japan that can work well, like all these tournaments and events. But, for example, I don't know if they can do that same level here, you know what I mean? Because it's a different type of stores, transportation, all that stuff. And I don't really know. That's a question for you. Do you think a battle pass would work well in the West? And think for a second, because genuinely, I'm not too sure. I think they might do the battle pass, maybe pretty likely, but I don't know how well it translates to selling. I wish TT consultant or supervisor for this West release for Beyblade X, but now I'm worried the franchise interest rate, especially here in the West. Yeah, all depends on adaptation and how it's done, 100%. Okay, I'm scrolling up on here. I'm worried for Hasbro's Beyblade X's releases because they might do the same shenanigans again like Burst. What are your predictions on how Hasbro will handle the Beyblade X? Well, I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. It's either you get similar issues to Pro Series, or you don't. I think I'm going to say everything will be identical. I don't know. Would they really screw it up again and give them worse, cheaper materials? I think identical, but maybe cheap materials. Maybe. Hey, ZANKYE, do you think the Beyblade X app will launch an... Oh, I kind of did answer this. Okay, this is different. You think it's going to be a TT one or modified Hasbro one? Okay, for this one, you keep asking about the same thing over and over. The answer is no. Please stop spamming it. No. Okay, now back to this. I think the app will just be localized normally if they do it. I don't think they'll make an entirely new app, and if they do, that's just a waste of resources. What if there was a crab bait and it was called Crab Pincher? Well, that has a pretty good name to it then. Aside from that... Okay, Pro Helios... I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. Pro Helios is on Amazon and Walmart Entertainment Earth and was cited in Germany, but no one has ever gotten it, despite it, classic Hasbro. Generic Drake would be funny to see. I think Drake has to release before the next Rare Bait battle, or right when the month happens, because my prediction is that they'll do a Hell's Chain recolor, and the other one will be like a Drake Evo. That's what I think they're going to do. I actually heard rumors that her bait is Drawn Dagger. Hell's Scythe and Hell's Chain, Bird. Drawn Sword, Drawn Dagger, X Korosu. Confirmed in a Korokoro scan that it was like X or whatever. It was like the little blurb that has them. Okay, so aside from that, I feel like we did a pretty good discussion for this week. So I'm going to double check just to be sure. Oh, hold on. Hey. Thoughts on possible issues with the Ratchet when Hasbro does Beyblade X? Basically, any issues you've seen with TT, just imagine it worse. That's the best way to put it. If it's the same pro quality. If it's not, if it's the same quality as TT, then probably no issues. And again, I'm trying to be as fair as possible. So I've given you option A and option B. So I'll be double checking this week. I'll be trying to go over. Yeah, this week's going to be a little bit rough for me for a lot of the work that I need to do. Okay, for this week, you should be seeing on Monday, maybe late Monday, Quad Strike tier list. On Tuesday, Halloween special. It's a good one. It's a good one. I really got into character for that one. And we're gonna probably get to the December teaser info, right? Because don't forget, actually, by the way, that this week, since the new Bay's release, we always get the paper teaser. So we'll be finding out when's that gonna happen. And after that, it's the reviews. But I don't know when my stuff is coming. So I think my stuff might come Friday. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see, man. We'll see indeed. We'll see indeed. And yeah, we'll go from there. But other stuff for the following weeks, there's going to be some pretty cool stuff you're going to be seeing for planned content. When's the next upload? Daily, my friend. Daily. Usually after 5 p.m. or at 5 p.m. What are you going to do for the end of the year tournament since Beyblade Burst is over? Very good question, my friend. Plans for the end of the year? That's actually a very good question. Well, maybe... I don't know, actually. I usually do the best of and the worst of. I don't know. Maybe, screw me. Maybe we'll do cross-gen. Or maybe we'll do a burst bracket and a X bracket. I say next Monday we get our stuff, sadly. Yeah, it all depends on circumstance. Are you acceptable in the Hasbro releases? Like we are. I'm just impartial. I said we'll wait and see. I have some new bits I'll be making for you. Okay, dear God. I promised on my last question, if Hasbro does the same shenanigans as Burst, what do you think Hasbro would do to the X models, ratchets, or bits? Okay, if they're saying it's supposed to be the exact same thing, like I'll pull up the quote before I end off. The only possible differences I could maybe give is that maybe like the plastic. Like, you know how like for Burst, it's a little bit different on the coloring for like the Burst stuff? So that's at best, like maybe instead of like this kind of transparent blue you see on Drawn Sword, maybe it's like a solid blue or something, right? That's like at best. That's at best. And maybe you don't get like the fancy, the texturing, and maybe like it's a little bit basic, but it's more or less the same. Is the metal on RhinoHorn a bit grainy? Probably just the lighting, my friend. Okay, so I basically did all the updates possible. So I want to give a shout out to everyone who showed up. We went over a lot of stuff. Next week we'll have some pretty good stuff to talk about. Hopefully I can make it through this month of November without breaking down. So hopefully I can survive until then. But yeah, that's kind of it. Okay, I want to end off on the explosion. I think this one actually is probably the best one we did so far because I didn't do any screw-ups this time. So that is good because I'm doing it by myself now. So thank you all for watching. See you next week. Have an amazing day. Bye.